Energies are so intense today. It's like it's disrupting technology. I just did a 20-minute awesome guided meditation recording and the converting process failed and the file is corrupted and it's like gone. And I'm like, you know what? F that. I'm redoing it right now. I want to do a video for you right now to help with all the energies that are moving around right now. It is so intense. It's like, call it what you want, you know, psychic storms, um, energy currents, galactic waves, uh, people's fear patterns, whatever label you want to put on it, it's going on. And today is particularly intense for some of us. Maybe not for all of us. Some of us don't feel this stuff the same as others. And I just want to take a little 20 minutes. I'm going to aim to not do more than 20 minutes. To give you a super simple process to get really, really straight in your central line so that you're not as affected when intense energies are hitting us. My goal is to show you how to be the eye, to be in the eye of the storm. And I don't mean the eye. I mean the eye with a capital I. Be the eye in the storm. So I want you to just take the time to imagine that you have this line going through you, your central line. Most of us, this line's kind of like loopy. If you look at your posture, it gives you a pretty good idea what that line might look like. I want you to decide right here, right now, with super focused intent, that line is going to be as straight as can be. And this line goes directly through the center of your body, goes all the way into the core of the earth. And I don't mean it's just like touching on it. It's going in it. There's like 3 layers in it, all the way in, all the way into the heart of Gaia, all the way into the spiritual heart. Of your physical mother. And this line goes straight through you all the way up to source, which we could call your divine mother if we wanted, but it's just me having fun with words. You let that line be so straight, so straight. Visualize it as straight as a laser beam would be. There's no curves in there. It's just super straight. Now, I want you to imagine that there's a tube of light all around that line. And around that tube of light, there is an intricate golden mesh. Beautiful golden mesh. What we're going to be doing with this mesh is that anything that we're bringing back into the central line, it goes through that golden mesh. It's like a golden weave. It goes through it, and the gold energy transmutes any low frequencies. And we're going to program this golden mesh that anything that is not you, anything that is not inherently a part of you, can't get through it and is transmuted by that golden mesh. So you got your super straight line, you've got your tube of light around it. And I want you to start becoming aware of your aura, aware of this field of energy all around you. It's about, about 3 feet all around you. Looks like an egg a little bit. There's all this space in it, and it has layers, but let's never mind the layers. There's all this space in there, and then there's a membrane. What I want us to do today is I want us to start bringing back into that tube of light, into the central line, so that they can be fed by the tube of light, by the central line, sorry, all the parts of us that are floating around in our aura. All the parts of us that at certain moments in our lives, we rejected, we didn't know how to protect them properly. We didn't know how to deal with them as energies that might have been really intense at that time. So we kind of went like, oh my God, okay. And these parts of us are now floating around, feeling very unsafe. How could they feel safe when we have disconnected them from the central line and from the core of our being? This central line that is fed, grounded into the core of the earth and fed by the energy of source, fed by the essence of what you are that is beyond time and space, is where peace resides. And all these parts of you, no matter how you've judged them, all deserve to be fed by that central line, by that essence. They all deserve to know that they are safe, that they are held by Mother Earth, that they are contained within a core that loves and protects them. No part of us doesn't deserve that, regardless of how we've judged them, regardless of how our mind or our ego or whatever you want to call these parts of you that reject have decided about them. So we don't need to make this big thing about we need to meet them, and we can really, for the goal of this exercise right now is you keep yourself super centered in that central line with that tube of light around it and that beautiful golden mesh around it. You are anchored in the earth and you are connected to source. You're allowing source energy to fall down into the tube, and you're allowing the grounded core energy of the earth to come up. And this tube is kind of like the meeting and melding of both, like your human experience and your divine being. And I want you to play with your inspirations. When you are inhaling energy, it's like you're bringing these parts back into the tube of light so they can be fed by that central line. And remember, that golden mesh will not let what is not you into your core. That golden mesh will transmute what these parts of you carry into a higher frequency, will transmute fear into love. So start doing this. You're inhaling and you're bringing these little pieces of you that are floating around in your aura, you're bringing them into your central core. And when you're exhaling, you're just allowing them, you're allowing these parts to find their rightful place. You're allowing these parts to regain access to the core of who you are, to be re-given their fundamental and inherent right to be safe, to be connected to your core, to be aligned with your central line, and to be safely held within that tube of light. So you're inhaling, it's like you're calling all parts back to center. As the divine being you truly are, you're not here to reject parts of you and cut parts of you off. You're here to bring them all back together. You are here to remember yourself. Remember what you are. Whatever's not you doesn't get through the mesh. It's that simple. Your decision. You programmed that mesh. We programmed it together. Inhale. You're allowing these parts to come back to center. Exhale. You're allowing them to find their place within that central line, that central ground. Do this a little bit, a couple seconds more. And we're going to start playing now. All directions, front, back, sides, top, bottom. You're inhaling all these parts. You're giving them back the right, the fundamental right to be safely held in your central line and tube of light. They are all deserving of this. And I want you to start imagining that there's a freaking crazy storm going on all around you. And you stay centered in that line. This is how you can tell if there are parts of you that are not anchored into your light and allowed to be connected to your source. When storms are around you, they go through these parts that are kind of like floating around in your aura, and it freaks them out, and they don't feel safe floating around your aura. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't feel very safe floating around something as opposed to being grounded in the core of it. So imagine this like crazy hurricane going on. All these energies are moving around in your aura, and you keep doing that breath. You keep letting all these parts know it's time to come back home. Come back home. Find your place. That storm like throwing shit all over the place. You're bringing yourself back to center. You are that central line, and you are calling all these parts back to center, back to safety. Nothing that is not you can get through the golden mesh. Calling all parts back to center. And notice when you're like imagining that hurricane, tornado, storm, craziness going around you, you might even feel in your aura where there are things that are freaking out, where there are little energy spots that kind of like, you being in reaction is how you know that there's something there. Once we bring them all back to center, we can actually be in response. We can respond instead of react. So bring it on, make that hurricane stronger and stronger. It's like winds flying all over the place. There's things like a piece of wood over here and a tree over there and whatever. You are the line. You are so grounded in yourself, in your truth, in your essence. You are so grounded in your essence that you can be the I, the capital I, in the storm. And just keep doing that. Inhale, you're bringing all these parts back into the core, back into that central line, back safely held in that tube of light. There's often spots, just like a bit in the back of our aura. Be aware, scan your aura as you're doing this. You are in the central line. You don't leave the central line and go into the aura. No. You are the central line, and you send out little like beamers kind of thing. You're just like checking in what's going on. You're not leaving the line. This is a huge issue that most of us have. Anyone that's grown up in a physical environment that was unsafe, and most of us have because our parents are not perfect divine beings and they had their own issues to deal with. So we didn't always feel safe. Some people just learn to shut everything down. But a lot of us that are sensitive and have intuitive abilities, what we tend to do is we start living more like on the membrane of our aura, where we can really feel like what's coming, and it will even extend our aura so we can feel things coming way before they arrive, way before they get anywhere near our core. The problem with that is that we're not in our core anymore. We've left the building. We're like on the membrane. So feel into that space without leaving the central line. It's like you're in the central line, you're in the sacred heart, and you're feeling into your aura. And when you notice something, you're inhaling it back to center. Yes. Okay. We're going to have a little bit of fun here because we're going to do another thing. As all parts are being brought back to the central line, it will become easier and easier for you to tell what is not actually a part of you that is also floating around in your aura. Some of it has accumulated as well all around that golden mesh that we put around the tube of light, because whatever's not you couldn't get in. So now I want you to start using your exhales to push is like not exactly the right word, but I want you to start using your exhales as a way by which you use the energy of who you are, and you're expanding it into you, so that whatever is not you, whatever you're holding on that's not yours, whatever energies in you are not you, whatever is inhabiting your aura that is not inherently from your being and your essence and your experiences, is it's just being pushed towards the membrane because you are taking more and more place as you. So it's like, just like inhale, like we're just going to change the movement a little bit. It's like you're inhaling all that energy in your central line, in your core of who you are. And as you're exhaling, you're beaming it out through your sacred heart. You're beaming it out into your aura. And it's almost like a thick beam. It's almost like, oh, I like that idea. It's almost like as we're doing that, as we're exhaling and taking up more and more room in us, that golden mesh that we put around that central line is expanding. And nothing that isn't you can get through that. So as we are expanding that golden mesh, whatever is not you, whatever is inhabiting you that is not you, whatever you have held on to, and whatever no longer serves you to do that, because a lot of these things we held on to for other people because we thought it protected them. Well, it doesn't protect you to hold on to that. So we're not going to be pushing it out there and dumping a bunch of stuff all over the place and making it go back into other people. We don't do that. We can be responsible with energies like this. So you're exhaling, you're allowing that golden mesh to take more and more room. And if you don't feel safe for any reason letting go of that golden mesh, you're doubling it. And that golden mesh gets to stay there too. And you're just creating a double of it, and you're making that start expanding. And with every exhale, you're expanding it more and more. You're expanding it more and more. Only what is truly me gets to inhabit this space, gets to inhabit my aura. And we're bringing this more and more towards the membrane. More and more towards the membrane. So you're inhaling with the intent. What is me? This is me. I recognize my essence. I recognize my being. And as you're exhaling, you're sending that out. You're sending this out into your aura. Only what is me inhabits my aura. This is your aura. Out, 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 all the way to the membrane. It's about 3 feet. Okay, now, we're going to be responsible beings. The idea is not to throw onto others what we are processing, releasing, transmuting, dissolving. Transmuting is the word I'm going to hold on to right now. I want you to start imagining that your membrane has a transmutational fire on it. It is the fire of transmutation. It can be any color you want it to be. If I tap into what it wants to look like for me, it's golden orange. It's like burnt golden orange. It has traces of pink in it and very, very bright turquoise energy. But I want you to know, whatever color comes to you that you want it to be, that's right on. Do it, man. Give yourself permission. Give permission to this fire of transmutation to transform, to transmute any of the energies that are now all on the membrane, all on the boundary of your aura. Don't forget, you stay here and feel that happening. Don't go there. Be here and feel into it. Let that fire of transmutation recycle and transform all the energies that are in your membrane. Sometimes we feel it on the skin too. It's interesting. What we want is to have a clear membrane so that we are able to get clear information. What tends to put us in a state of reaction is that we have a whole bunch of stuff floating around in our aura. And then when energies come towards us, you know, our membrane reacts strongly because there's all these parts, things of us that are floating around and are not safe. They're not safely tucked into our central line. They're not integrated. And that puts us in reaction mode. I'm telling you right now, if that membrane is clear, if your auric field isn't cluttered, if what is not you is no longer there, and if what is you is allowed to be safely integrated into the core of your being, where it belongs, something incredible happens. We are able to receive information and respond to it instead of having it kind of like ram into us and our defense structure reacts. We become able to process information with our hearts, with the spiritual heart deeply nestled into us, instead of through our survival brain that is very focused on keeping our physical body safe. And this is, for most of us, is what's going on most of the time. Our brain is in overdrive trying to figure out what to do, and that's reaction. That's reaction. Response looks more like, huh, interesting. This is the information I'm receiving, and you're in your heart, and then you can figure out how you want to respond to it. Let that let that transmutation happen. Let that fire burn away everything in your aura that no longer needs to be there. Just going to pause 1 second. Sorry, I got movement. Let that fire of transmutation clear away anything in your membrane, anything that makes it hard to just receive information and be able to respond to it with your heart. Be centered in your heart. It's the most powerful place you can be. Keep that central line nice and straight. Keep yourself grounded in the earth, anchored to source, and weather the storm by being the eye in the storm. Practice this whenever you notice you're kind of like loopy all over the place. Do that central line, get nice and grounded. Imagine that there's a crazy hurricane going on around you, and notice where you're feeling it in your aura. Create that golden mesh and inhale with the intention of bringing back into your central line the parts of you. And after a little while, you exhale, and you're taking more and more room in your aura. And as you take more room in your aura, you are pushing towards your membrane, the outskirts of your aura, what is not you, what does not belong to you. And then you use the fire of transmutation to allow it to transform, to allow it to re-become energy that can be used in a new way. All right. I hope this is a fun process for you. I had a lot of fun doing it today. I kind of woke up with crazy energies to deal with, and this really, really helped me come back to center. Be there for yourself. Be the divine parent. Be your best friend, and be centered in that line. Oh, I'm kissing with my line today.